Hello, everybody, and welcome to this AFC South Show 152. And we're going to be talking about the Texans starting training camp. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. But we've got all members of all shows here. Trevor sitting in for Isaiah for our Jaguars representative this evening. Jeff, a.k.a. Big Steck, our Colts guy, checking in down there. And then we got Mayr from the Titan Takeaway podcast, the host. Also, I got an EP coming out, so
He's right.
Get ready for that.
Yeah.
So, what's going on, guys? It's been a while.
Keeping busy.
I was about to say, I'll start out and tell you something that's going on right now. Jacksonville just took the Jersey game. I don't care what nobody says. Argue with your mama. That's clean as hell.
It's all right. I give y'all the cosign. I said that in the group chat earlier. I like it. I'm not gonna argue with you. I don't know about taking the throwback game just back, but it's cute though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I like the Oilers jerseys, but y'all can't actually claim ownership to them since they don't actually belong to you. So
actually, that's like
y'all
factually
lost the lawsuit. Y'all lost the lawsuit to the high school in Texas.
Oh well, the Oilers. I mean, the Oilers belong to us, so I don't know what you're getting at. But your jerseys are nice though. They're nice.
I don't know, man. I think the colorway and Houston would argue with you who the Oilers.
Yeah, I just remember the Titans dominating the Jags in those jerseys, so I like them. I remember beating the Jags 3 times in 1 year with those jerseys. They're nice. I'm not even trying to get into it with you, but like that's a clean jersey. That's a clean jersey.
I like it. That's what
no
we
lie,
need.
no lie, clean jersey.
They are clean.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. We're trying to grow the channel here. We're at 444 at the time of this recording. So with that, let's go ahead and plug everybody else's channel. Trevor, talk to him about Third and Teal.
Man, bro, we're growing like a weed right now, bro. We're at 103 subscribers. Like, I appreciate y'all because I know a lot of y'all came from this show, the viewers of this show. I'm putting in as much work as I can. So are the guys on the show. Coming up, I just secured a faculty member from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to come on the show with us within the next 2 weeks. I'll be there for 2 days of training camp next week. I have trivia questions for all of you. I'm going to get some more interviews. Those are going to be up. I've got plenty of content that's going to come out soon on the reveal because I had feet on the ground there for when we revealed them at the stadium today. And then on top of that, I'm going to be tailgating every game of the year. Prove Me Wrong station will be set up, will be ready for every team that wants it. Anybody who wants it, come over, come challenge us, come do it, because Isaiah will be there right beside me, and all you got to do is give us a sub. That's all you got to do. But other than that, man, thank y'all. We're on pace to no disrespect to anybody. Surprisingly, we're on pace to catch the AFC South show itself by the end of the year. We're making great progress, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Mayr, let him have it.
Hey, you know who it is, man? It is Mayr. I am the host of Titans Takeaways, the best podcast in the South. No disrespect to Third and Teal with my boy Big Steck. You guys do great shows, great content. Love you guys, but we cover the best team in the South, bar none. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what nobody says. Look, Trev, I'm gonna come down to Jacksonville. When is the game between us this year? I'll be there.
Hold on 1 second. I'll get you the exact date. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm there for that.
Yeah, because I wish Steck could be here because you know what's happening when y'all come to town, Steck?
What's up?
That's when these jerseys take the field. That's when y'all come to town. We play y'all in Duval. The Titans.
Yeah, I can't make it there.
This year, December 29th in Duval.
Oh yeah, I'll make sure I'm there. Yeah. Jacksonville ain't even that far of a drive. I'm just trying to figure out how come y'all not wearing them against us. I think I know why, but we're not gonna get into that.
Well, personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. Regardless of like wearing them against, picking and choosing somebody, there were people that camped there since yesterday to buy these. There's no way. We were just talking about this on Third and Teal. There's no way that these aren't jerseys. I would love to see, and I think honestly, it's hard for them to not even consider making these like the Bucks did, retrofitting, because the Bucks did a throwback and it was so successful they just retrofitted them and kept them and like rocked the shit out of them. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's going to happen here.
It should. It should.
And if it doesn't happen this year, our new stadium will be in the new stadium in 28.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen now, I feel like some rendition of that will happen then.
It should. It's a sweet jersey, man. I really like it.
Because don't get me wrong, that one right there, like Mayr, you ain't never seen it, but I got the whole wall covering jerseys. But that jersey right there, don't get me wrong, it was a simple but a clean design. Like I liked them. I like the all whites, the all blacks, the all teals, and even the mixed match. But this is timeless, man. This shit's I love it, man. I love it. And that's not to say that there aren't other jerseys that I love it though. Actually, I even mentioned the Oilers uniforms. I didn't bring them up just to talk shit. I think those uniforms are fire as shit.
They are.
I ain't even playing. But these, man, bro.
Clean.
That they didn't fuck these up. That's all I got to say, man.
Yeah. Y'all should definitely go back to those jerseys because the ones y'all had last year in the past couple of years, those are definitely solid. Now the ones that y'all had, I want to say that was Blake Bortles era. Didn't like those. But that what you got on the classics, the 1999 ones, 1998 ones, I approve.
Yeah. And also the thing that I like about them too is they didn't try to get too fancy with it. I got home and I held this one up because it's the same colorway. I mean, literally take Reebok and make it a Nike Vapor Elite jersey and
boom, there you go.
Boom, that's it. They didn't get too sweet because I mean, bro, I think they made the decision at the draft party, and the reason I say that is they put out racks of those, $100 a piece. They were just cleaning out storage bins back there, and people were buying 10 and 15 of these things, dude.
Yeah,
they just
things gone.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Well, while Jeff is getting resituated here, I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity. Go ahead, check out That Real Texas Team podcast. We had one just drop probably about 16 minutes ago at this point. So go ahead and check that out. We are covering a little bit of today's training camp action, but we're at 52 subscribers. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button over there and share it with any Texans fans you may know. Now, let's kick it over to Jeff, hear a little bit about Unstable, and then we'll get into today's debauchery.
Yeah, Big Stack, host of Unstabled with Alex. We're growing slowly but surely. We finally hit the goal I was looking for at 25. Obviously, that's not quite where we want to be. 15 episodes in, so we need Colts Nation to show up, man. Bump those numbers up, help us out. We're trying to put out as much as we can, as often as we can, as good as we can. So, yeah.
No.
The more you support us, the better we'll put out.
All good things take time, my guy. All good things take time.
That's true. Fact.
All right. Well, let's get into this a little bit. Training camp is not necessarily starting for everybody else. It's pretty much just Houston and whoever the hell they're playing in the
Chicago
Hall of Fame game, Chicago. So what narratives do y'all's teams have coming into training camp that you're hoping either get put to bed or confirmed true?
I mean, I could start off. We got a couple of them. The narrative number one is that, and everybody sitting on this podcast right now, whether we like to talk trash or not, is a sensible football fan in the sense of we know ball. All right. And the narrative is that the biggest narrative is obvious is that Trevor Lawrence did not deserve to be paid. Okay. He's going to put that to bed. And I feel that wholeheartedly. And I've actually, when I came on to That Real Texans pod, or the Real Texas Team pod, I discussed this with you guys. It's just, I mean, Trevor was a top 5 quarterback in every stat up until his injuries. I mean, we were 8-3 or 8-2, 8-3, one of the two, or it was 8-3. It was 8-3. We were 8-3 at one point. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, we had a terrible collapse, and there are a lot of things to point fingers at with that. But I mean, the man went through 4 different injuries within 3 weeks. Injuries happen, man, and it's a part of the game. So the fact that it's even a some kind of narrative that he didn't deserve to get paid to me is just it's mind-boggling. And then the second one for me would be, it's not as big of a narrative, but I have seen it in a couple places, is that they don't feel like Brian Thomas Jr. was the guy, was the pick. I think that the only way that argument could be made, and this is why I feel this will be put to bed, is that we should have went corner, but we still got a lockdown corner in Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones didn't allow a touchdown for 2 years straight. No matter whether you like the guy, respect the guy or not, that takes skill. Because he was playing in the ACC and he played on an undefeated Power 4 conference championship team. And he didn't allow a touchdown for 2 seasons. Okay, the guy can play. So we got the corner that we wanted, and we ended up getting another one behind him in Prince. So the only other argument would be is that, Malik Neighbors was the best receiver on that team. He was the best receiver on that team stat-wise, but then again, you look at numbers and really, is it because of the system or is it just because he's that much better of a receiver? And that's hard to say. Because you watch the tape, he's faster on tape, it looks like. I mean, their numbers may be different. I never actually looked at Malik's numbers. But Brian is fast, tall, and he cuts right, like sharper than almost anybody I know. He's literally a Calvin Ridley with hands. I mean, honestly, I'm just being real. And I can say that, and it's not even a dig at you, Mayr, because I love Ridley. And you see him right there. I love Ridley.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, Ridley is a problem, and he's not a good problem. He's a bad problem because he loses focus. He loses concentration. Like, Ridley alone, we counted it up on 3rd and Teal. He had 8 touchdowns by himself that he dropped or let go through the back of the end zone. By himself, he had 8 of those. And that's not to mention all the deep bombs that he also just – and let it go right through his hands. Just lack of concentration. So, all those things being said, man, I think those 2 storylines are going to be put to bed, and you'll see a different Jacksonville team this year in play and in coaching, all of it.
Okay. Anybody else want to dive on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the obvious narrative is, and it's a season-long thing, but, Anthony Richardson's health. But, he's going to be a full go in training camp. They've already said it. He's good to go. In fact, he put on some weight. I think he's right around 250 now and still running the same 4.340. So he's still a big, fast dude, athletic as shit. So I think that hopefully that narrative gets put to bed that he can't stay healthy. The other one is, and Alex has griped about this nonstop, and that's about, shoring up the secondary, specifically corner. He feels the Colts didn't do anything to address it, and there's still corners in free agency. They might not be, premier, the lockdown corner that you might have been looking for, but he still thinks that we should go grab one. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anyone in free agency, it was really going to be any better than what the Colts already have. But and he was questioning the Latu pick. A lot of people were, and I've talked about it before, but I think he's going to be great. The narrative is that his neck injury, whatever, is 2 years ago, and he played 2 very healthy, very successful seasons in college after it. So I think those are 2 of the big things. And the other one is, probably get solved in training camp is, will it be Mitchell or Pierce to take the number 2 spot? And technically it should be Pierce's spot to lose, but I mean, he hadn't really produced. I mean, he's had some flashy plays and a lot of drops. So I don't know. I think it'll be fun. He should at least be in the offense, though. He's fast. But
yeah,
I feel like coming out of training camp, I think Mitchell, the rookie, is going to probably overtake his number 2 spot.
Okay. Mayr?
Well, with the Titans, the biggest narrative is pretty obvious. Is Will Levis the guy or not? Last year, he showed us some flashes, a la the first game that he, played against the Falcons, the Miami game, and other moments that he had, during last season. But the offensive line was just so horrendous last year. You really can't get a good read on him, And so now that, it's going to be an improved offensive line, we drafted J.C. Latham to play the left tackle position. We have Tom Callahan, Brian Callahan's dad, being the new offensive line coach. So we're going to get a good judgment to see, hey, is J.C. Latham a left tackle? Is Will Levis going to be the guy that is a franchise quarterback? That's 2 things that we're looking for. Another thing that we're looking for, guys, we're trying to see who exactly is going to play the strong safety position. Since the Titans got Jamal Adams last week, I don't project him to be a full-time starter at the strong safety position. I think he's going to be more of a rotational piece. Amani Hooker, obviously, with the money that he's making, they're going to want him to play more of a free safety option, which I think he's probably better suited as anyway. I loved Amani at Iowa, and I was ecstatic that we drafted him. But I don't think that he's more of like in the box safety in the NFL. I don't think he's that physical presence that a Jamal Adams is or other players around the league. So we'll see. Does an Elijah Molden stay is the full-time starter? How much does Jamal Williams play? Is he just a package player? Could he be the starter? Who knows? I mean, he's played with Denard Wilson before. Denard Wilson has been his coach before, so maybe he can get something out of Jamal Williams that Jamal Adams, excuse me, that maybe he's had a bad couple years. He's had some injuries. He hadn't been spectacular in coverage, but maybe Denard Wilson can unlock something in Jamal Adams. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Titans are getting old players," but Jamal Adams is 28. I mean, I'm 30. I'm older than Jamal Adams. Damn, like what y'all trying to call me?
I'm ancient in football years, so.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but 28 in football years, especially a safety, isn't old. Even if you want to say like a nickelback or even a linebacker, that's not old. Now we're talking 31, 32. You got me, but the last couple years he hadn't been great, but he hasn't been in the best situations as well. So I'm really anxious to see how they use him, and is he going to be rotational or is he going to be started?
Yeah. And I think the similar narratives about who's going to be doing what in the secondary kind of exist in the Texans secondary. Because we got Jimmy Ward, who's going to be coming back playing the strong safety position, but he's 33, 34 years old. We drafted Kalen Bullock out of USC. He's a little undersized for that kind of role, so I doubt that he kind of fills that in. But we did draft a linebacker out of Oregon who is 6'3", 235, and ran like a 4.4. He played safety his first 3 years at Oregon and then became a linebacker his senior season. I think he'll probably play that kind of Jamal Adams role that you were talking about where he's just in the box. And I think another narrative that the Texans have to dispel or, whatever, is that there is nobody in the secondary outside of Stingley. Kamari Laster's got to step up almost immediately. And he's had a phenomenal mini camps and everything else. And we're going to see how it all works out when the pads come on. But Jalen Petre's got a lot to prove this season, especially after a hugely slump sophomore season. So those are really big questions. And then, of course, everybody's obvious question is, will CJ Stroud have a sophomore slump? I don't think so. I think they put enough tools around him and added enough pieces in key areas to take the pressure off of him so that he doesn't have to be the only thing making the ball move in Houston. So those are things I think that could be addressed. I think we'll see that. And as today was the first practice for the Texans, the secondary was a problem. The wide receivers were able to get open and run all over these dudes. John Mechie made Jeff Okudah look like an absolute scrub on a play where he just torched him. Just could not even keep up with John Mechie out of the break. So I think the secondary's got its hands full. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So anybody got any questions for another team?
Do you think that Calvin Ridley's actually going to produce for y'all?
Absolutely. 1,000%. I was gonna say something a little disrespectful, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it like that because I like your jersey. I like your jersey. And I was supposed to be on your show today, but I got off of work late, so I'm gonna be respectful.
Oh, you're still gonna come on next week? It's okay.
Yeah,
we got time. This is the stuff that gets the views. Boy, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll get disrespectful next week. But I will say this honest answer. You got to think last year, Calvin really, he had got suspended, from the NFL, for gambling and everything like that. I think that, he's having a whole year, with you guys underneath his belt. Now he's kind of got his legs back. I think that this year, and he's an athlete too, and I'm sure that he recognizes maybe some balls that he should have caught. And I think that this is going to be like a redemption year for him. And he still had a good year last year. He caught over 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? So if he just literally does the same thing what he did with you guys here, along with DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Boyd, that's enough for us. We're not looking for him to be a Keenan McCardell back in the day, representing your old school jerseys. We're not looking for him to be the best wide receiver in the league or anything like that. But yeah, I think he'll catch over 1,000 yards. So
Okay. I have one more question, and I only have to ask this because don't get me wrong, like I understand where you're coming from. If there's any team in the league actually or in our division that understands where you're coming from with the shitty O-line problems, it's us. We had the worst center in all of National Football League last year, and we had the 28th worst supporting cast around Trevor Lawrence last year. We have a terrible offensive line. It was god awful. Okay, we had one bright spot, and that was Anton Harrison. Okay, this is not even meant to be. This is not a diss. This is not a knock. This is just football for football. I know Trevor Lawrence produces at a higher level than Will Levis currently does. No one knows. The ceiling could be here. It could be way up here. It's hard to say. But I will say that we've seen Trevor produce with a terrible O-line. And we've seen flashes from Will Levis, but nothing to the extent that we've seen from Trevor so far. But there has been more time with Trevor. So, I mean, I also recognize that. But I just feel like Calvin's biggest problem was not even so much the drop. That was obviously a huge problem. But Calvin didn't take the time to even learn the playbook half the time. Calvin straight up sometimes went out there and just ran his own route and it just did whatever the hell he wanted to. I mean, like, so my question then would be, yes, if he does 1,000, obviously, then that's good for y'all. That's all you need from him. But do you think that paired with your offensive line struggles, you got one guy, but we obviously be enough for a whole line. Do you think with your offensive line struggles and the uncertainty of Levis at this point that he will eclipse 1,000 again?
He'll definitely. I think he definitely will. I think that I would beg to differ that you guys had the worst center in the league. I mean, we had a center last year that's probably 5'7". Honestly, he should not be playing offensive line in the league. He's too short. I'm sorry. He'd be better off playing a fullback, to be completely honest. And our offensive line it's been awful for probably the last 5 years. Even when we had Taylor Lewan here, it's been bad. And so I just think that I'm not trying to say that the Titans are going to have a top five offensive line next year, but I think that they will be at least above average this year with Lloyd Cushenberry, one of the better centers in the league. I think that Phillips Skoronski is going to be a solid left guard for us. J.C. Latham. He was one of the best linemen in college football last year. I know he's going from right to left, but I think this is what Coach Callahan wanted. He wanted J.C. Latham, so I'm going to trust his judgment. But honestly, we still have to see that. I do think that Dylan Raditz is probably going to play right guard or right tackle, most likely right guard. I think he is better on the right side than he is the left side. Right tackle, not sure what we're going to do right there. But honestly, in the NFL, you can get away with having a decent right tackle and a decent right guard. But I think if your left side of your offensive line is solid, I think honestly, only thing that you need three good linemen. You don't have to have five good linemen. If you've got three really good, solid offensive linemen, and you've got two other guys that can at least hold it down, that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the new Bruce Matthews. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Well, just protect the blind side, essentially.
That's it. Just give him enough time to throw. I think there's enough weapons there. We've got weapons out of the backfield. We've got some solid tight ends as well. I do think that I do think we're going to see more out of Will Levis this year. I would give obviously I would give Trevor Lawrence The edge over Will Levis, of course. I mean, Will Levis has only played like what 7 games with a
I
terrible
don't
offensive
know how
line.
many games he's played, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even remember off the top of my head. I think it's like 7. So you really can't. It's kind of hard to judge a quarterback this soon. I mean,
Agreed.
we didn't judge Trevor Lawrence, and he played a whole year with Urban Meyer. You know,
Mhm.
so we're gonna give Trevor Lawrence grace. Then we should
I
give
agree.
Will Levis some grace too. You know?
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know Isaiah, you posted a meme. I think it was Curtis. Did you share that meme about there's Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Gonzalez still being the Gaudet tight end? Like that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I get why Jacksonville paid Trevor Lawrence. That really isn't the question. They drafted him to be the franchise guy. He's a tough dude. I mean, he's played well enough. So I get the payday. Like it's not really, but it's Isaiah's saying he's a top 10 quarterback right now, and I can't see it. Like I just haven't seen him in. We're going to cancel his first year, so it's been 3 years. I just haven't seen it where it's been. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a top 10 dude. I haven't seen it. Even last year, you could argue someone like Baker Mayfield put up better stats than him, like through the season. Like you can make these arguments, and it's like I put him in the top 15. Yeah, he's better than half the quarterbacks on other teams. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can't say top 10 though. And I guess that's the argument for the pay that he got, but I'm not going to argue the pay because that's just what quarterbacks.
I give you
get,
12
right?
or 13. I give you 12 or 13
Yeah.
easily. But
Okay.
top 10. But I get he's a young quarterback. His trajectory is probably going to go up. I think that he can be one. I just don't think that he is right now.
Well, I'll say this, okay? And I respect all the points you just made because all those are fair points. But this is what I will say. Only one quarterback now 2 quarterbacks in the league played top 10 consistently in the last who knows how long, and that's Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Everyone else has gone up and down depending on the team around them. I mean, you look at the other greats, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, they both had bad years and good years in between, just depending on the cast around them. Okay. I have to make the point and say that Trevor has played as a he has played at the level of top 10, top 5 even a couple times. It just depends on the type of year and what the team's doing around him. Okay. Now, you're absolutely right when you say last year as far as like the Baker Mayfield stats and all that stuff. You're right. But Baker Mayfield played the whole year without any injuries. I'm not saying that injuries are an excuse for everything. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I've been saying it all offseason, when it comes to the judgment of Trevor Lawrence's performance last year, for anyone to take the injuries and exclude them from their overall decision on his performance, it to me is honestly an unlogical opinion. I can't respect the opinion anymore because before the injury, he is top 10 in every stat line almost. Like in almost every category for the quarterback, he's playing top 10 football. We're 8-3, and we're in firm command of our division. I mean, he's getting the job done, and he's doing it well, like very well. He's not just barely doing it. He was doing it well. And then the injuries come. Now, again, injuries happen. But every time injuries happen to one of the bigger guys, everybody's like, okay, well, he got hurt. He's still top 10. He's still obviously top 10, but he just got hurt. He just got hurt. That's all it is. When what we have seen from Trevor Lawrence is if he has more than a split second to breathe in the pocket, which is not a lot to ask for. I mean, but that pain, Mayr. You guys have one of the worst lines, just like we do. Okay. If he's given more than a split second to breathe, he is one of the best quarterbacks in football. And I'll say that because there's no one that puts a ball over the shoulder in the basket like he does. There's no one that does that. And he has velocity that no one else in the league is matching on those throws. Okay. Those corner and outside the number throws. Okay. Over the middle, he tends to lead a little bit high. Sure, but Patrick Mahomes tends to lead a little bit in front. I mean, you could find nicks and knacks with every quarterback in the league. Say, for instance, C.J. Stroud. He's one of the hottest quarterbacks in the football game right now. But as soon as a little bit of pressure comes, he cracks. Anybody that watches him has seen that. Me and Curtis talked about that on the Texans podcast. Once the line starts deteriorating, he panics. It's what it seems. I mean, he panics and he performs bad. I mean, you could find a knock on everybody. Anthony Richardson can't stay off the injury reserve list. I mean, And Will Levis. I mean, Will Levis does not perform well when he's getting big linemen in his face, but nobody would. You know what I mean? So there are knocks on everybody. So I would have to say that the only way you can truly judge a quarterback is when he's playing at his best. That's the best way you can judge them, because playing at their worst, everybody can find a million reasons and excuses for any quarterback in the league. You can find those everywhere. Okay, like people are going to have bad games and they're going to have bad stretches due to whatever it may be. So if you're going to judge a quarterback, like, who is this quarterback? My quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, is a guy that is tough. He played through multiple injuries. Just because CJ Beathard, like, and I know people would say, oh, well, that makes him a bad quarterback. He hurt your team. CJ Beathard absolutely did nothing against the Carolina Panthers. All right. We were definitely better having an injured Trevor than not having him at all. First point. But overall summary would be, at his best play, like, Patrick Mahomes obviously plays better than any other quarterback in the league. Lamar Jackson is more elusive. I wouldn't say he's a better passer. I love Lamar Jackson, don't get me wrong, but he's not a better passer than majority of quarterbacks in the league. He's just a better overall threat. I don't know how Josh Allen keeps sneaking in there. Quite honestly, he's got a big, but I don't.
I don't see it. Everyone puts him in the top 5, and I'm like, this motherfucker cannot not throw a red zone interception. He can't do it.
You will never find a bigger hater of Josh Allen than me.
Well, and then also,
I've been on this dude for 4 years.
Well, then, and we're talking about the top right now. So if we're talking about the top right now, I mean, Trevor Lawrence at his best is playing better than what Aaron Rodgers currently produced before his injury. It was better than what Aaron Rodgers was producing. And then other than that, you talk about, like we just went through, Pat, Lamar, somehow Josh, somehow Joe Burrow, even though he hasn't done anything in 2 years, like at all, hasn't literally done anything. So somehow he's still there. So then CJ had a rookie year, and I mean, he did really good. No discredit to CJ, but CJ and his head coach are brand new. There's no tape. You don't know what they're going to do. But what we do know is that if you get pressure in on him, he cracks. That's all we know so far. Okay. But CJ's up in the top 10, obviously. Who else are you putting in front of him that's just playing that much better than him when the team around him's actually showing up to play? Who is better? Because
everybody that you name, I'll be honest, man. Like, as much as I dislike Josh Allen, I like Josh Allen in the regular season. Okay, I think that he plays well in the regular season for the most part. Don't get me wrong, but when he has to win a game, like he needs to win a game, he has to make the throw. He doesn't do it. He's been doing that since he came in the league. Like Josh Allen is not in my top 5 at all. But I'm gonna be real though. Like, over the body of work that he has put together over the past 3 or 4 seasons, I got to put him over Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? Just how last year ended. The season before then, you guys started off real slow. You got hot at the end of the year. Titans had a Titanic collapse. We give you guys credit, but honestly, the game that you guys played us in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence didn't play all that hot to me. And then, like, this year, I do understand that he's hurt. I do take that into consideration. But he still should have beat the Titans at the end of the year. We're a trash team. We're a trash team last year.
Yeah, you ain't gonna hear me disagree with that. We should have beat him. My point against the Josh Allen thing, though, if Josh Allen's that much better, he should have put us away, and he hasn't been able to beat us. And I think the last 5 years we beat him every time. And not only that, what Josh Allen's been able to put together is first or second round exits in the playoffs, just like we did with a better supporting team. He had a better team around him every single time. And he still was only able to manage the same production that Trevor Lawrence gave us.
In his defense, though, he is usually getting put out by Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with that, but we also got put out by Patrick Mahomes. That's who we got put out by, and we were only one fumble away from that not happening.
I'm just saying the Colts beat the Chiefs. You know, that was our Super Bowl
in the regular season.
Absolutely,
man.
Props to you guys, but like, we're one Jamal Agnew fumble away from the Chiefs don't even knock us out, and we actually move forward. Yeah, I mean, no discredit to them. They played a good game. They still won the game. But I mean, just to put things in perspective, if we're talking about, to be fair, it's Patrick Mahomes putting them out. Patrick Mahomes is who put us out. So what makes his resume that much better? The fact that he's played longer, or the fact that he's had a better team around him?
Well, one thing I'll push back on you, Trevor. I think you're making some great points. But at the same time, it's just, when you go back to the year that you guys lost against the Chiefs, the Titans game, we had Josh Dobbs out there, man. And to be completely honest, we outplayed y'all. If we had Ryan Tannehill, we had a decent, healthy team. We probably do beat you guys, to be completely honest, because we did outplay you that game. Watch the whole game. We outplayed y'all. But y'all won, and we give y'all respect for that. You didn't cheat. You won. The next week, you played the Chargers. Everybody knows the Chargers in the playoffs. It's in their DNA. It's in their history. They choke in the playoffs. They were beating you guys 27-0. They should not have lost that game, but you guys did a hell of a job of coming back in the second half, and you won. We do give you credit for that. But at the same time, it's just you played two teams at that year that really screwed themselves up. You know what I mean? Not to discredit you. You did what you were supposed to do. But at the same time, if you're playing a competent team, you probably don't win those games. When it comes to Josh Allen, I think that when Josh Allen has the big game and he has to make the throw. Last year, he should have beat the Chiefs last year. I do not like Josh Allen. I think he has low testosterone, to be honest. But Joe Burrow, I can't give you the Joe Burrow thing, because Joe Burrow's I think Joe Burrow
good, but
Joe
I'm
Burrow's
not
top
saying he's
3
not better.
to me.
I'm not saying he's
honestly.
not better. I'm just saying I was just listing quarterbacks that are traditionally put ahead.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then my pushback to the the whole we played 2 weaker teams. Then do you place that same thing on CJ Stroud, because everybody's comfortable putting him in the top 10, but he's one dump pass from Gardner Minshew away from not making it?
Oh no. I agree with you on that. I would give CJ Stroud bottom top 10, but I don't think that, and I said this on a podcast, I think the young man's got a great future, he's a great kid, all that. But at the same time, I don't think that he's this, second coming of Jesus like people in Houston think, to be completely honest.
I agree.
He threw, and stats aren't everything. Don't get me wrong, but people are acting like he threw 40 touchdowns last year. He went 23-5. He was efficient. Didn't turn over the ball. Great, but I do not think that he is this. I don't think he's Tom Brady. Like, let's be real. I don't think that until I see different. I agree with you on the Colts game. I mean, yeah, he's literally a missed throw from the Colts advancing to the playoffs. Then we're having another conversation. That's why I do think that Houston is going to win a division this year, because they've got so much talent that it's his, and they won a division last year. That I think, just off of respect, Houston should be favored. But I wouldn't be surprised if any other team won it. Like, I think that everybody has at least an outside shot to win a division this year. Probably the Titans less, because like we have more holes to fix than everybody else that's in this chat right now. But I think that all 4 teams have. You could see them maybe contending for the division this year.
Yeah.
The Texans remind me of us last year. Barely skating in, win the first round, get kicked out the second round, added a little more talent, do some stuff because we added Calvin Ridley, we added firepower that we all thought was going to make us over the top. We'll see what happens the next year. Obviously, you have good points there. I would, to sum up the quarterback thing, because before we leave it, I just have to say this. I think that there are more points for than there are against him being in the top 10. And I mean that based off of like who he is at like when he has a team around him that's playing, and even when he plays with a bad team, okay, he still performed very well. Like we still had the worst line last year, and he was still top 10 before he got hurt. I mean, there are more points to put Trevor Lawrence in the top 10 conversation than there are to not put him there. I mean, and that's just my summary. Like there are some valid points, but you're going to find valid points on every quarterback. You're going to find things on every quarterback that we're still comfortable putting in the top 10. Because, like, at this point, we could say, well, Joe Burrow's injury prone now. He's still good. We're still comfortable putting him there because we know he's that damn good, but he is injury prone now. Is that a reason to take him out? No.
He's went to a Super Bowl, and he's played, he obviously he went to Super Bowl. He had a year. Didn't he go to the AFC Championship game like the next year or something like that too?
Yeah, and he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out in the AFC Championship game. He
That
lost.
was the first time he'd actually lost to Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just he's had that level. He's had sustained
Success.
consistency and greatness. So you have to put Joe Burrow there. I think that
Yep.
Lamar being a two-time MVP, you have to put him there. I think that Josh Allen, throwing 40 touchdowns, and yeah, I don't like this. I don't like it. Like ask my people, they will tell you I hate Josh Allen. I love to see him lose.
But he belongs there. He does.
At the bottom of it, because
Yep.
he's done it longer than Trevor. I think that if Trevor Lawrence has a good season this year, he makes the playoffs, he puts great numbers. I don't have an issue with Trevor Lawrence being there. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's like at 12,
Well,
like
who do you
11 or
fill the
12.
gaps with? Who do you fill the gaps with? Because all we've named is, and I want to ask Curtis that too, especially because me and Curtis talk about quarterbacks quite frequently. So obviously, in no particular order, it doesn't matter. Just in the top 10, you obviously got Pat, Lamar, Joe, Josh. I mean,
Purdy.
you're going to put Kirk in there.
Purdy.
I mean, you could even make an argument of like Jordan Love. You can make an argument of
I think
Jalen Hurts.
One hot season, just like C.J. Stroud, and Jordan Love's very good, obviously, but I think he has to do it more consistently, just like we have to see from C.J. Stroud.
Jury's still out on Jordan Love. I
Yeah.
like him, but I'm not going to put Jordan Love above Trevor Lawrence. Trevor
Well,
Lawrence.
I was just looking at stats. Like it's very
He had a
similar.
great year
That's
last
why.
year.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, I'm not putting Jordan Love above Trevor Lawrence. You got to do it for a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, but
I
then
agree with you.
Brock Purdy.
You got Brock Purdy, which that's debatable depending on who you talk to. But I mean, he's still good, but he's definitely a product of the system he's in. He is not just the best quarterback in football. He's definitely a product of the system. But either way, you put him in there, okay? Then you got
putting Dak in there.
Okay, you put Dak in there.
I'm putting Dak in there.
Put Dak in there.
I didn't.
I'm putting above Trevor
I'm
Lawrence.
putting Dak in there. Dak plays phenomenal football in the regular season. Honestly, he's a lot like Josh Allen, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, I feel like you can make an argument with Tua and how he played.
I can't.
I mean,
better than Trevor Lawrence.
He played better than Trevor Lawrence with two of the fastest receivers in the entire fucking National Football League. And
he got to give him the ball though. Still got to give him the ball.
I'll give him his flowers. That's fine. But I
made an argument with Stafford.
I'm not doing that.
Jared Goff.
I think Stafford's in there.
I put Goff in there.
Then there you go. There's your 10. So then we left C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence outside of the 10. And then those people, some of those people you could debate about. I definitely think that Trevor Lawrence plays better than Stafford, but Stafford had a better system going around him, like better handed receivers and stuff. I think that's one of those things. Again, you could argue interchangeably. Like I think between Goff, Stafford, Lawrence, and Stroud, those final two spots could all be interchangeable for me. Yeah. I don't think there's any way you can definitively put Stafford and Goff above Stroud and Lawrence. But that being said, even if you do, the fact that he's even able to be argued to be interchangeably number 10 just proves my point. Exactly what I'm saying about him. Like he's a lot better than what the paper will tell you. You have to look at before the injuries, because last year, that's what everybody wants to talk about with Lawrence right now is last year. And last year is obvious. That's obvious for obvious reasons. It's the most recent thing you have to go off of. But I mean, unless you watch those games, which I watched every one of them, and I was in attendance for 90% of the home games. I mean, I think I missed 2. I can't fault him for our failure. Like, I mean, really, he had, and between Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, there were 14 touchdowns dropped on their own, just between them two. Not to mention the ones to Evan Ingram, and then the drop passes in the field. The guy was getting him the ball. I mean, it's just we have overpaid people at the time that just couldn't fucking get their hands on it. Yeah. I mean, he did what he could do with who he had. I can't fault the guy and especially even doing it through injury. Like, I can't fault him for our demise. Our demise comes on a faculty standpoint, in my opinion, as far as Doug should have stepped in way earlier. He should have stepped in way fucking earlier.
So I have a question. I have a question, Trevor. I mean, you're speaking like you're very, very knowledgeable about your team. You're giving us all these, receivers weren't catching the ball, and Trevor Lawrence can throw it over a guy's shoulder better than anybody else in the league. Okay, I got you. Calvin really ain't shit. But my thing is,
I wouldn't say that. Hold on. I gotta correct that. I would not say Calvin really ain't shit. If he gets his concentration right and he puts the time in to learn a playbook, he will be one of the best receivers in the league again. He could have done it. He showed it. He cuts faster and he cuts routes harder than any other receiver that we've seen in the NFL right now. His cuts are electric and they're so fast. I wanted him back in Duval, and I say all that not to say that I wanted him gone. I loved him. I don't just, you know what I mean? Like,
that was my question. That was my question. But you got ahead of it. I like it.
I loved Ridley. I loved Ridley. Don't get me wrong. I loved him, but I hated him at the same fucking time because he couldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
He was his own biggest enemy. He would have led the other behind Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill was just putting up stupid numbers against nobodies in the secondary for most of the season. Anyway, he would have been top 5 in receiving yards, if not top 3, if he would have just focused on the fucking game. If he, like, literally, stop focusing on the fact that you're back in the league and all these cameras. Focus on the game, dude. Focus on the game. And if he'd do that, he'd be back. He'd be right back like he never missed a step. He's electric.
All right, let's shift gears here. We've been kind of on this quarterback topic for a while here. So, there's been a lot of off-season speculation about who's got the best wide receiver room in the NFL. You could make an argument that the Titans and the Texans are probably, interchangeable at one, depending on how large you want to look at the wide receiver room. Top 3 only, you could say the Texans, you could say the Titans. But where do we all rank the entirety of the AFC South 1 through 4?
I think the Titans are number 1, personally.
Okay.
I think the only reason the Texans are in that conversation is because of what Stephon did 3 years ago, not what he's been doing recently.
There was obvious disconnect in Buffalo.
Yeah, there was obvious disconnect, but that just says even more that we have to see what he can still do. Yeah. We got to see what he can still do because he's not exactly young anymore, but he's not old yet. You know what I mean? He's walking the line of like you're either gonna continue to be good or you're starting your decline now. Like it's yet to be seen. But I think that's really the only reason that they're there. They have 2 young guys that are really good, but the Titans have 2 guys that are proven to be fucking good. We know Nico Collins is good, but Tank Dell caught everybody by surprise until he got hurt. Nobody was prepared for how fast he was, and nobody was prepared for your offensive game plan. I'm not discrediting, before I say this, anything to do with the Texans passing game last year. It was still phenomenal, but they benefited from the fact that no one knew anything about them. There was nothing to prepare with. They had a different plan every week because it's a complete different staff, complete different offense. I mean, there was nothing to go off of, and they benefited from that massively. I mean, you could tell that people were getting lost on assignments because Tank Dell would just streak. That was where a lot of the yards came from. Tank Dell just streaking past safeties, and they never fucking knew he went. Had no idea. But he earned that. He still earned it. But, like, I think that's the only reason they're in the conversation. I think it's definitively the Titans with the receiver room. Like, Boyd is still a good receiver. That's no question. He's still a good receiver. D-Hop is still one of the best in the league. Calvin, if he gets his head on, he is probably, if not Devontae Adams, the best in the league as far as an all-around receiver, not a speedster, because Tyreek Hill would be that.
And I'll make it. And it's hard to do for the Colts, but I think they'll be close by. I mean, I think Pittman has been great with a lot of not so great quarterback play. I love what Downs did. I think he might have been the steal of the wide receiver draft, year before last. He was phenomenal as a rookie. Dude was sure-handed. He was getting everything he needed. He was everything that the Colts needed. He was picking up those short downs. He was even a deep threat. I really like what he put together. Pierce was also the deep threat. He just dropped some that he should have caught, but he's fast, and so is Mitchell. Like, we haven't seen what Mitchell can do. Obviously, he's a rookie, but I think the Colts wide receiver core is probably pretty underrated right now.
Yeah, they got potential. They definitely have potential. To answer the question, I would say, man, it's tough, man. 1 and 2. I mean, with the Texans, they've got Tank Dell, they've got Nico Collins, they've got Noah Brown, they've got Stephon Diggs. I'm a big Stephon Diggs guy. I really am. I might give the Texans the edge because I don't think that Nico Collins and Tank Dell, I don't think that they've been truly just unlocked yet. They're younger players. With DeAndre Hopkins, everybody knows, he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, one of the best receivers in the last 15, 20 years, no doubt. Calvin Ridley, tremendous, route runner, speed guy. He's amazing. I don't really just see. I think that he's kind of hit his ceiling, though. I don't think he's going to pop out with 1,700 yards this year. Tyler Boyd is a great third option. I think that Traylon Burks, he's got some potential too. I think him being at the 4 is fantastic for him. I think he's going to have a great year as well. I think that NWI being the number 5 is a beautiful thing. I don't need him being my number 2 receiver. I've been saying it all summer. Thank God he is down there number 5. I mean, wide receiver core, I know we're talking about just purely wide receivers, but you can't forget about the tight ends that the Texans have. They have Dalton Schultz. He's one of my favorite tight ends in the league, and they probably don't even utilize him as much as they should. But I think Dalton Schultz is a bad boy. I also think Chig with us is great. I think that with Jacksonville, Evan Ingram, he's one of the best receiving tight ends in the league as well.
Absolutely.
So wide receivers are not the only pass catchers that you got. I think that we've got some good
See,
running backs
now
too.
we're changing. Now we're adding tight ends to it.
No,
I
I'm just
got
saying,
to throw in
like,
my boy Jelani, man.
I'm just saying, you gotta take it all into account because wide receivers ain't the only people that's catching the ball. Speaking of Tony Gonzalez, he's one of the best receivers that we've had ever. He don't play wide receiver.
The question was wide receiver, though. I thought we were playing the wide receiver game, not wide receiver, not pass catchers.
I do have a point to make, though.
I get you. You're right, Jeff.
Didn't they say that if Traylon Burks got snaps, it would be on special teams?
They
said that out of the off-season workouts because he was. I don't know what it was. I didn't follow that closely, but apparently he was not performing. His coach, your head coach Callahan, literally said, if Brian or Traylon Burks is fighting for a spot, it's on the special teams.
He might just mean like, okay, he probably will have him on special teams as well because I've heard the opposite though too. He might also mean like, okay, he might be fighting for a spot as a kick returner with the new kickoff rules and everything. Traylon Burks being a faster, bigger guy, that might be an option for him. I think he's definitely the 4th best receiver on the team. That's not even a debate on the team. He's definitely number 4. He could be number 3, honestly. I think that, just with our offensive line issues the past couple years and not having maybe the best quarterback play has something to do with Traylon Burks not performing as well, not performing how he should too as well. Because I think that when he gets the ball in his hands, it's big time. I think he has the potential, but we have to see it. But to answer the question, I'm going to give it to the Texans because I think that Stephon Diggs is fantastic, and I think that Tank Dell and Nico Collins, I think they're just starting to get into like their Tank Dell's is in his 2nd year, but Nico Collins, he's been in the league like what, his 3rd year?
This will be his 4th year.
His 4th year? Yeah, so he's probably just entering his prime. So I think that Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, I think they're great receivers, but I think they've hit their ceiling. I think with the Texans wide receiver core, besides Stephon Diggs, I think that they haven't hit their ceiling yet. So I would give that to the Texans.
Man, honestly, I don't even know if we've seen Diggs' ceiling. Honestly, because the last couple of years, it's not that Stephon Diggs just kind of, pulled a T.Y. Hilton and actually ghosted the team. He just wasn't, wasn't on the field. This dude is running and he's open, and Josh Allen is either scrambling for some reason or only targeting Gabe. And it was infuriating as an owner in fantasy football. I watched almost every Bills game because I'm like, man, Diggs is, he was pretty much the guy that won me a lot of games. And there are some games where I'm like, dude, is he hurt? What the fuck's going on? So I'll go to the game. No, he's running open and shit, and he's just not getting targets. They're just not looking at him. I think there was one game where he had a half where he had one target, and it was like a ball thrown to the sideline or something. He had one rush for 1 yard in the red zone.
Yep.
What's happening here?
He was underutilized for sure.
It's and they said, it was because of a diva attitude. I'm like, I never saw him complain or do nothing. He just went on the field, went off the field. So they keep saying, is this diva attitude going to, hurt the Texans' young wide receiver corner? I don't even think he was a diva.
No, I don't look at him as a diva.
I think he was just pissed off because he wasn't getting the respect he deserved.
Yeah, he's probably just pissed because his quarterback is a jabroni. He's still top 10, but he's a jabroni. Sorry, I've been saying that about him.
A
Saying that
jabroni,
about him for a long time.
That's wild. Dog. Hey,
Like
speaking
I've
of
never
like,
seen a quarterback actively avoid arguably one of the best receivers in the league. Could you imagine if Stafford didn't throw to Megatron?
Yeah, that'd be
Like
ridiculous.
if they never threw to DeAndre Hopkins in Houston, like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's what they were doing to him in Buffalo.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
But you
Crazy.
kind of Steck, you gave me a little bit of inspiration though. I do still give the nod to the Titans overall. Not, and I say that because he asked the question, who has the number one receiver room now? And I think now it's the Titans. Later, it will be the Texans. As of right now, I think, because like he said, the ceiling's still yet to be seen. But I will say this, and Steck kind of inspired me to do this a little bit because, our receiver room it's very underrated. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's definitely very underrated, considering a couple of things. Christian Kirk is way better than people like to give him credit for. He is really fucking good, actually. Like, he's got very solid hands. He's fast. He's got good routes. I mean, he's good. He's a security he's a security blanket. I mean, literally, you throw him the ball, he's gonna fucking catch it 9 out of 10 times. You look at our new receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. Like I said earlier, he's literally Calvin Ridley with hands. I mean that so seriously. I've watched so much tape on him now. He's Calvin Ridley with hands. Ridley still has sharper cuts, but he's a more experienced bet he's going to. But and then you add Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, like you just said, now, don't get me wrong, he was avoiding Stephon Diggs, but Gabe Davis was clearly still producing because they still were a playoff contention team almost every year. And Gabe Davis.
I wasn't knocking Gabe Davis. I was knocking Josh Allen.
Right. But, I mean, Gabe Davis is second in touchdown receptions as far as, like, playoffs and regular seasons combined, I think it was. Like, he was second in the past since he's entered the league. So, I mean, it's not like Gabe Davis is a slouch. The reason he wasn't a 1 is because Stephon Diggs was there. If I'm being completely honest, I think Gabe Davis does have the potential to become a number 1 receiver.
Or did he need like a Stephon Diggs to kind of get the attention?
See, that's possible too. And I wonder that same thing about Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Because Nico Collins was solid, but did Nico Collins explode because Tank Dell took the attention? But that's here nor there. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean like show that he's good, but I mean explode like he did. Like because he actually fucking exploded.
Yeah.
But anyway, like our receiver room is actually very underrated. Like I think because Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not trying to put us in the top 2 because we don't know what Brian Thomas Jr. is yet. We think we know, but we don't know for sure. We know Gabe Davis is really good. We know Christian Kirk is really good. I know for a fact that Parker Washington is stupid good. Stupid fucking good. Like, I don't even think most people remember that we have him. But when Kirk got hurt in the very first drive of the Bengals game, Parker played out of his mind and has been out of his mind every time he's touched the field. Every single time. Like, he's really, really good. And then behind him, we got an undrafted free agent that not a lot of people know about, but his name is Joshua Cephas. Joshua Cephas would be top 10 in the draft if he didn't go to such a low-ranking school. I mean, I'm so serious. Like, I've never meant that more. Like, I'm not even just trying to hype him up. Like, he is that good. You just watch the tape on him. I cannot wait until he touches the field.
Trevor, do you sell used cars?
Nope, do not. But I missed my calling, right? You know what I'm saying?
You should, man.
I'm just saying, like, Joshua Cephas is very good. Like, our receiving room, at every option, there should be no excuse for the drop passes anymore. It's more or less what I'm getting at. And we should have a more explosive receiving room now because Brian Thomas Jr., I think, ran 4.3.
He's fast.
It was low 4.3s, but he's lightning fast.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what we were missing was lightning speed. We had Calvin Ridley with lightning speed, but now we just need the lightning speed with the hands. Because that's one thing. That's the only thing that takes us out of this contention is our receiver room lacked big plays. But it wasn't because the big plays weren't there. It was just they weren't being completed. They weren't like the receivers just weren't putting the finishing touch on it. And it's literally so bad that like I know you guys probably haven't seen it because you watch your own respective stuff on your teams, but there are literally highlight reels of Calvin Ridley just dropping passes. I am so serious. That's how bad it was. there are also highlight reels of Zay Jones dropping passes. And then there's like a 45-minute compilation of all of them dropping passes. It's so bad.
But y'all wanted to sign Ridley back though, and you have I mean, I hear you. I believe you. You watch your team way more than I do. Trust me. But you wanted to sign him back though. That's the only.
That's because his potential's still there. It's for the same reason you guys signed him.
Yeah.
The same reason we wanted to sign him is the same reason you did sign him. Now, personally, I do feel like you overpaid him. Not in the long run. I feel like if he came back on like a 1-year deal for a good amount of money for a 1-year deal and showed that he can get his concentration back, give him his money. Absolutely. Throw the bag at
stats, man. It's when you did not have a good season prior, you got to overpay for some people.
And see, I understand that. That's the tax because we had that tax for a long fucking time. We're just now coming out of it. All right. Like Eric Armstead, I think, was the first bigger name that we signed that we didn't severely overpay for. Anyway, as far as Ridley goes, we were offered to match. We didn't match because, I mean, we needed him, but we knew that we could replace him in the draft, quite frankly. Like for the production that he gave us, we could replace that. Yeah. No ifs, or buts. And I think we did. We'll see how it turns out long run, but I mean, I think we confidently can say we replaced him in the draft.
Okay.
Fair.
All right. Well, boys, honestly, I think this is a pretty good spot to go ahead and wrap it up. Do you guys have any closing comments?
Hey, go Duval, baby.
Football's coming back, baby. Let's go Colts.
About time.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
About damn time. It's been. I'm tired of in my news thread seeing nothing but WNBA. I'm just saying, it's time.
Yeah, I was about
I'm tired of it.
I'm like, I've been watching the WNBA. It's time for football to come back. No disrespect to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and all the great ladies in the WNBA, but I'm not passionate.
It's time.
Yeah, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. That shit's boring as fuck when them two ain't on the field. I'm tired of this shit. Football need to come back on right now.
Yeah, I'm tired of watching summer league ball and the Olympics. Nah, I'm good.
I'm tired of watching Bronny James put up 9 points at best. This shit's
yeah. Hold on, did y'all see that stat that ESPN put out? Like, you know, they always do points, whatever, and time play. ESPN put out that fucking graphic, big old 22 and whatever. I'm like, you played 22 minutes, 2 points. Why would you put 2 minutes? 22 minutes is a big graphic number.
Yeah, that's what everybody was.
That's hilarious.
They're making everybody hate the kid, and I don't, and it's really on the ESPN and the media for doing it. They're making Bronny James hate it, and he doesn't have to be. He was a second-round pick. Nobody cares about a second-round player. He's LeBron James' son. You know, that's great. The Lakers, what people don't understand, we're going to a basketball topic here, but the Lakers have always drafted former players or current players' sons. They've done that.
Yeah, they have a history of it. That's what pissed me off, and everybody's like, "Oh, the GM did this." I'm sure he had some cool in it, but like the Lakers have a history of doing this.
They do that.
And then on top of that, it's not to say like people really are quick to forget that before he had heart failure, he was balling out of his mind. He's not not like they just pulled the fact that he's actually deserving of an NBA contract out of their ass. He absolutely was capable and still could be capable of being a high level talent in the NBA.
I don't think that they play somebody in millions.
I wouldn't be playing anymore.
If I'm a team trying to make money, I'm not putting millions of dollars into a player that can't play just because he's somebody's kid.
No, I agree with you there. I think I wouldn't have given him a guaranteed contract, especially not that large either. But I mean, I can see why he was drafted. He should have been drafted, is what I'm saying. It's just not in the same circumstances. I like Bronny James because, in my opinion, hot take for everybody watching. I know this is not football, but LeBron James is the best basketball player that's ever played. Argue with your mom. I don't care. I love Jordan still. I respect Jordan, but LeBron James is the best basketball player that's ever touched the court. I don't care. I mean, his stat. What stat do you have that you're going to argue with? Because there ain't one. There's not one. LeBron James owns them all damn near.
That's the best thing you've said the whole episode, Trevor. Good job.
I mean,
all right. Everybody hit the like, subscribe button. Go check out Third and Teal. Go check out Titan Takeaways. Go check out Unstable. Go check out That Real Texas Team podcast. Like and subscribe to those. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Go check us out on Spotify and most places you can listen to podcasts, and be good people.